Welcome to EdTech Talk, where we dive deep into the dynamic world of educational technology, course design, and feature faculty insights in higher education. I'm your guest host for today's session. My name is Taylor Matthews. And in this episode, we are joined by Brandon Loyd and Brian Hutchens, and they will be sharing some insights on AI in the classroom. So thank you so much, Brian and Brandon, for joining us today for the EdTech Talk. If y'all would just introduce yourselves and your role here at the college.
Well, Brandon, if you'd like to go first.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Brandon Loyd. I have a background in computer science and software development. My current role at Forsyth Tech is in our web services team, where I work on a lot of the web applications like RAS and FT.org and things like that. But recently, I've kind of been driving our AI project development and strategy for implementation initiatives. And I co-lead our AI task force with the amazing Manny Ramirez.
Oh my goodness. So Manny, they used to be with us in the CTLE. Manny and I actually started together.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yes, they before they got the full-time position in bio, they were with us in curriculum design. So that's wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
they've
thank
been
you.
doing amazing things, amazing things. They've
Mhm.
been spearheading our faculty subcommittee too,
Mhm.
and provides amazing faculty insight. So, yes, big shout out to them.
Yes, great. Well, thank you, Brandon, and welcome. And Brian, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role here at the college?
Sure, Taylor. My name is Brian Hutchens. I've been working full time since 2009 with the ITS and then switched over to CTLE in 2022. And I've been a faculty member, all adjunct since 2002. With classes from PC literacy to Excel, Access, networking, public administration, and political science and humanities and technology and society. So I'd love to see the advancements we got going on with AI, and just so glad we can be part of this to help, spearhead into the future with it, because it's not going away. AI is here
Mhm.
with us. So let's use it. It's just like in the past, in 86, I hate to say this, 85 to 86, we had to learn how to do commutations and permutations by hand without a calculator.
Mhm.
And now, you got a tool, use it. So
Yeah,
it's another great
right
tool
there.
for us to understand. Yes, right.
Yeah.
So we'll turn it back to you.
All right, great. Thank you both so much. So I guess we'll just start out with kind of the basic understanding of AI. We hear that a lot, but how would you both define AI in the context of education? And maybe talk a little bit about maybe Brandon, you could enlighten us on Forsyth Tech's new AI policy or just how the basic understanding of AI and in education and specifically higher ed here at the college.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to describe AI or artificial intelligence kind of as a toolbox of technologies. And this technology can learn and make decisions much like people do, but on a faster and often more efficient scale. Now, many of us are most familiar with generative AI, which uses artificial
Mhm.
intelligence to generate content, right, in response to user inputs or prompts. So that includes tools like ChatGPT or Gemini, Dolly for image generation. Um, but under the hood, generative AI typically uses advanced machine learning models called neural networks. And these neural networks learn patterns from massive amounts of data, such as text from the internet or large data sets that you load into it. And then by identifying kind of how these words and ideas connect to each other, these models can craft sentences or images or other content that feels very natural to us. But AI also appears in day-to-day applications, such as Grammarly, which uses AI to check for spelling, analytics platforms, or workflows that are enhanced with AI for better decision making. I mean, when you think about it, AI is everywhere, whether you know it or not. Like you pointed out earlier, it's in your pocket. For some people, it's on their wrist, it's on their computer. It's in the movies they watch. It's in the art that they see. AI is everywhere. Um, and so we've spent a lot of time and committed a lot of effort into establishing a good vision for Forsyth Tech's AI implementation and policy and procedure to kind of support that vision and our mission. But before I get into that, I want to give Brian an opportunity to talk on how he would define AI in the context of education as well, because the policy can be a little lengthy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon. That's very well put. I say AI is just a way for us to take some of the knowledge that's out there and ask questions and draw information from it. Now, like we looked in Blackboard has got AI for content generation, or is even for an assessment generator, but it has the caveat of make sure that it's correct. I remember I was playing with AI and I asked it a question about a song. And I asked it to draw me a picture of a cruise ship, and it drew me a picture of Tom Cruise. So it has to make sure what you're asking for. It's only it's like any other program. I hate to say it, garbage in, garbage out. You have to make sure of what you ask it. I know if you can ask one about how to change a tail light, it'll give you some generic instructions. You can refine that prompt and say, tell me how to change a tail light on a 67 Mustang. And then it will go towards that versus a 2020 Mustang. So you have to know what to ask it, and it still can be off. But it's a way that we can use it as a tool to use our information that's out there to help us study better, and so it's really cool.
So both of you, mentioned kind of the analogy and talking about it as a tool or a toolbox. And even Brandon said, underneath the hood of this. So recognizing the usefulness, because a tool, what is a tool? Is something that is used to achieve a desired result. And I know a couple of the professional learning opportunities I've attended where the topic's been AI, like Brian was just talking about. A lot of kind of the training is training ourselves to really be able to ask the questions that we truly want the answers to, or be able to prompt these different tools to give us the correct, or as correct as it can be, kind of response. But knowing, and we talked about some of the things, the applications and educational settings like Grammarly, that app for Forsyth Tech, everyone has access to the premium version of Grammarly, which is wonderful as an English instructor, super helpful. But now kind of circling back, we've got an idea, a basic understanding of what AI is, how we're kind of using it, touching a little bit on how we're using it here at the college. With all new things, policies are necessary. So Brandon, could you talk a little bit about our AI policy here at Forsyth Tech?
Yeah, absolutely. So here at Forsyth Tech, we knew that incorporating AI into our classrooms and operations could not happen in a vacuum. We needed to pull people in to get it right. We began by gathering input from all over the college, and we asked ourselves, what does a successful AI-driven college look like? And from those conversations, we kind of created this clear vision that focuses on 5 key principles. We've got enhancing the student experience. We've got employee professional development, necessary resources and tools, unified institutional strategy, and lastly is governance. And so using this vision kind of as our foundation, we built our AI policy and procedures by regularly asking and comparing back to this vision, does this decision enrich the student journey? With AI-driven tools offering personalized learning, real-time support, innovative resources so students can reach their full potential. Is this equipping faculty and staff with the knowledge and skills needed to effectively use AI? Because we want everyone to feel confident in trying new ideas and kind of keeping up with a rapidly evolving educational landscape. Um, are we investing in cutting edge AI technologies that boost things like productivity or spark creativity, and make collaboration kind of easier for everyone? Are we being guided by a forward thinking mindset, which kind of ties into our unified institutional strategy, um, that that compares to our mission or supports our mission and goals, ensuring that AI is woven into like decision making at every level, including leadership. And then tying it back to governance. Are we creating strong ethical guidelines and responsible oversight for AI use, while keeping important things like transparency, accountability, and student well-being at the front and center? So our Forsyth Tech procedure for the use of artificial intelligence is broken down into 4 main parts. And these are available on governance and on our AI Hub Tech Link site, which I can talk about later.
Sure.
But we go right into the definition of AI or generative AI. So defining generative AI as a tool that uses AI to create content in response to user prompts. We also wanted to include some appropriate use. So things like brainstorming or creating outlines for assignments, deepening one's understanding of a complex topic, things like that. And we also included a short list of some examples of inappropriate use, involving copying AI-generated content directly into assignments without proper citation, or relying solely on AI in place of genuine learning. So we wanted to make sure that we inform people that, always cite AI use, and use it responsibly, in a nutshell. Then we move over to ethical use. So we highlight that AI tools must be used in line with Forsyth Tech's existing policies. That's to make sure that they don't create harmful, discriminatory, or otherwise inappropriate content. We also need to make sure people know, just like Brian said earlier, it is not flawless. It can contain biases or factual errors. So fact checking and critical thinking are crucial when relying on the AI outputs. Then we wanted to go into work-related use, right? So whenever AI generated content informs your work, it should be cited unless it's like a routine correspondence. So email communication, totally fine. And verify the accuracy of AI generated information. So use reputable sources before using it in any kind of official capacity. And lastly, because AI might reproduce copyright material, any text from a chatbot, we can't use it for Forsyth Tech copyright or trademark or patents. And then the last thing we wanted to talk about in our procedure is the data privacy and security piece. Now, this is very, very important because we need to protect our students. We need to follow FERPA guidelines and things like that. So you can use your Forsyth Tech credentials, but only with AI applications that are approved by Forsyth Tech IT. And refrain from putting any kind of confidential or PII into publicly accessible AI platforms. And if you're ever in doubt, reach out to IT services and we can get you squared away. But by kind of centering on meaningful student experiences and robust training for our faculty and staff and sound ethical standards, we believe that this procedure provides a flexible but responsible framework for using AI here at Forsyth Tech, because this is a rapidly changing topic. New advancements, new breakthroughs, they're coming out every day. So we need this to be fluid, in line with our mission and goals, and in line with the community that we are supporting. So we will continue to revisit and refine these guidelines as technology and as our community's needs evolve.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you all have been, yes. I mean, this is amazing, super detail. I mean, work that you all have done. So has it been a work group here at the college, um, to develop all of these, components and guidelines and all of these things? So it's, you all in ITS, and I know you said Manny, working with them. But it's an iterative process and constantly evolving, just like everything else. But wow, you all have really kind of thought of everything. Did you use AI to help you with the outlines for like the guidelines for college?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. AI, yeah, we use it to help kind of form the outline of how the policy is supposed to look, because it was mostly coming from a group of people that have never really written policy before.
Yeah.
So it started as our task force. So me and Manny and a few other people, we were getting together, having discussions. I was reaching out to Brian, I was reaching out to Manny, I was reaching out to marketing and admissions, and having these conversations that needed to happen. But then we thought, let's bring them all together. Let's have these conversations together. And I'm a huge advocate for collaboration and,
Absolutely.
bringing in different perspectives. And so in forming our task force, we intentionally put a lot of effort into making sure that we had a very diverse group of voices. We wanted every area at the college to feel represented and have a voice at the table, because this is a technology that will touch everyone's area. It's not just the English teachers that are worried their students are gonna cheat. It's not just the administration that's using AI to send emails. It's gonna be woven into everything, and we need to make sure that we get in front of that in a responsible, ethical, and educational way.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we got all together. We made several drafts, and then we kind of approached the cabinet and the executive leadership team with kind of all of our stuff through mediums like Rebecca Anderson and Alan Murdoch, who have been amazing, and Rachel Schroeder. They've been a huge support in kind of taking what we have and lifting that up to where it kind of needs to be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's wonderful. So, yeah, Brian, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. And like I say, it's been a collaboration. It's not just one section. It's not just web developers. It's the whole campus has been involved with this. Like, we got people from faculty sides, ITS, everywhere's been working on this. And it is a breathing document. So it's not just going to say, this is it. But it's going to breathe. And it has to. Because like I say, you say technology doubles. What is it, Brandon? How many years technology doubles? But now it's
I couldn't tell you. It's exponential. It's exponential. Yeah. I mean, if you look at, iPhones, look at where we've come from that. How long ago was it we didn't even have touchscreens? Technology advances so quickly and exponentially. It's like a train, and if you get off that train, it's going to keep going without you.
Yeah. So, Brian, because you are faculty too, you teach just like I do. Have you seen or could share an example of how AI has helped improve maybe your efficiency as an instructor or how you use it in the classroom, or if you have any way? I know we're constantly collecting data, and Brandon talked about big data sets, and even getting data from across the college from all departments to make sure our policies are well represented. But if y'all have anything that you could share about maybe how AI could help improve learning outcomes or has improved learning outcomes, or Brian, your efficiency as an instructor.
Yeah, what I use it is to help me come up with the lesson plans
Mm-hmm.
or come up with ideas for topics with that.
Yeah.
Say, like, even comparing in the technology and society, we have a module on transportation.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the modules we look at is about the Titanic
Mm-hmm.
and what happened with that. And so we kind of compare it with today's ships and size, the number of people, and based on the occupants of the lifeboats and
Mm-hmm.
what they're at to now. Is they're basically a little mini ship. So we have them compare that. Say, we have run simulation, ask, well, what if a cruise ship had distress today? Based on the lifeboats, how would the procedure go? And have them do that. Another thing to do is for even a makeup exam, have them to do prompts based on AI. And they have just
Mm-hmm.
different AI generators to see how different ones have come up with different answers to a question.
Oh, so
That's
you
interesting.
ask the students to use the AI and then analyze the different responses the AI
Yes.
gives based. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that helps them see that, you ask the same thing if you're out in public.
Mm-hmm.
You ask 10 different people, what color's the sky? You will
Mm-hmm.
probably get 10 different answers. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I want to show them as to how AI can give different answers depending on how you ask the question
Mm-hmm.
or what their opinions, where you look at more of an image generator or what. And that
Mm-hmm.
gives them more of get some looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we just throw them out there, it'd be horrible, like introducing me to a candy store and no expense limit. Or at least this way they can go look at the stuff and see what they can use, and that'll help them for later. And it's like even with research papers, I liken it to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather them get a feel of how to use AI, even in the humanities class and technology and society, get them used to that. So when they're really going into like class for web development, things like that, they at least, have used that, or they
Mm-hmm.
help to use that to break out the ideas. And even if you look at your phone, if you ask, it'll bring up some searches. That's based on AI. If you're on any of Forsyth's computers, you have access to the Copilot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's used quite a bit. And even to add, send a letter to a student, I'll say, I might be in one of my non-verbose days. I'll ask AI, say, help me generate a letter to the student, and it'll give me some ideas about it that I can take
Yeah.
and change over. One big thing to always remember, and I think Brandon touched on this too, don't use any sensitive data. Don't use a
Mm-hmm.
student name. Just say,
Mm-hmm.
I want to email a student about an attendance issue.
Mm-hmm.
I don't put in for Forsyth Tech. I don't
Mm-hmm.
put anything like that. I just put that, and they'll give me something to go on. Then I can
Mm-hmm.
expand on it and change it around. And you can always go back and at the bottom it say, hey, please include this in the email and let it regenerate.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can do it several times. So and then you say, okay, lighten the tone or make it more as a polite tone. And you
Mm-hmm.
can use tone generators for it too. So that's some of the fun stuff to, work around with on it.
Um, So like you, I've used AI to help create announcements for each module in my Blackboard course. And so I go ahead and get all of my announcements scheduled for the semester and set them to release each for the dates that as we move through the course, which has been really helpful for me as far as efficiency. I know one thing we don't get more of is time. And so, really being able to use AI as a tool to help you be more productive and efficient. So, as an instructor, you're devoting more time to things that can really also assist your students be more successful. Like if you don't have to spend all of this time creating announcements or outlines or lesson plans or things like that, you can focus on things like analyzing the data from your course, looking for certain themes and trying to figure out where the gaps are in the learning, in your courses so you can help your students be more successful. So I think, there's obviously concerns when there are new things and concerns and challenges. And so now I've seen so many positives while using AI in the classroom and in my personal and professional life. But from the teacher and the student side, obviously Brandon mentioned this, as English teachers and Grammarly. And I did have a student who submitted a paper that was the topic was on using AI in the classroom, and they used AI to write the paper about AI in the classroom and did not properly cite the use of AI. So that's obviously like a common concern with AI in the classroom. But Brandon, what are some concerns you see with using AI in education?
Oh, I see a lot of them.
Yeah.
And to kind of also take in and highlight some that I hear as well. Some big ones are things like over reliance on AI.
Hmm.
There is a risk that students might depend a little too heavily on AI generated answers and not really fully develop their own critical thinking skills.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's important to encourage active learning. So teach students how to question AI generated information and verify facts and kind of draw their own conclusions. It's exactly what happened when the internet came out. With the advent of the internet, the schools were like, don't use the internet, don't use Wikipedia, don't use that for your papers. Go to the library and read an astronomy book from 20 years ago that says Pluto's still a planet. So
Wait, it's not?
I, but I think that we have done a big disservice to students when we restricted the use of tools that are at their fingertips that really bring the information they need right there to them in an accessible way.
Hmm.
I think for this technology, it's so wildly important that we get in ahead of it, and we emphasize that it is a tool. A
Hmm.
common theme we've been bringing up during this episode so far is it's a tool. And we need to make sure that that is what's in our minds as we think of it, because that's exactly what it is.
Right.
Um, it's a tool. I like to use an analogy of a calculator, right? So
Mm.
if I asked you, what was the most complicated advanced math equation you could do in 30 seconds in your head? And it's like, oh, wait a second, maybe some basic algebra, maybe, and everybody's going to be different on that. But then I give you a piece of paper and a pencil, and I say, you can write down what you're doing. Does that help? Does that bring up what you're able to accomplish a little bit more? Then I hand you a calculator. Oh man, that has just opened up a ton of doors, right?
Hmm.
And we constantly iterate and improve on these technologies, on these tools, to a scientific calculator, to a computer, and now to AI. And it's not about replacing a student's knowledge retention uh, or problem solving skills or critical thinking. It's about equipping them with the tools to elevate the ceiling
Hmm.
that they're hitting,
Hmm.
and bringing it to them to give them a personalized student learning experience to elevate what they are capable of accomplishing, because AI is there. Like I mentioned before, it's in your pocket, it's on their computer, but more importantly, it's in the workforce.
Hmm.
And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing job postings online that have, just like how you see the ones that say basic computer skills required. We're seeing AI prompting skills. We're seeing that in the workforce. So, and that kind of leads to another concern, which is job displacement. A lot of people worry that AI will render certain roles, especially teaching roles, obsolete rather than serving as a supportive tool. And I think it's important to emphasize that, just like you said earlier, AI is being used to free up time. It's time for personalized support, creativity, and building relationships, the areas where teachers are indispensable, right? And that's kind of where we're trying to drive our initiatives and support.
That is so wonderful. And what you said connected to what so Brian was talking about how he uses AI in his classroom for students to analyze the different responses. So using their critical thinking skills while also using the AI technology. And it's not, and like you said, Brandon, we need to use this as an opportunity to help teach our students how to responsibly, ethically, productively use the AI technology to help prepare them for the workforce, and to also we have this time with these students, and if we don't teach them these skills, they're not going to be equipped for the ever changing workforce, and which is what our goal is, course to career here at Forsyth Tech. And like you said, I love the analogy that you used with the math problem, but also thinking about, even starting a fire. Okay. If you have a lighter and lighter fluid versus, a stick and a rock that you have to rub together, the objective, what is our objective? Okay, if our objective's to start a fire, and now we have a lighter and lighter fluid versus a stick, well, let's use that. We're still going to get the fire, but it's just what tool we're using to get there. And so having our learning objectives in our course, and finding a way to incorporate AI in the classroom to help our students demonstrate that they have met these learning objectives, not using AI to meet them, but that it's a tool like we keep talking about. So that is wonderful. That we're making all of these connections. And so speaking of the teaching, the displacement, some concerns about displacement of teachers, but you mentioned that's not, hopefully not the goal at all, because we are indispensable as far as the relationship piece in education. So how can we ensure that AI complements rather than competes with human teaching?
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Oh, sorry. One thing with that, like I said, Blackboard has AI component to create content. It will create a framework for the content. So we ask it for a wine history of Davidson County. It will give us modules that you can use. It'll get a framework, but it does not include the content inside that framework. It can come up with questions, but it cannot. You can ask it for content. You still have to know what to ask it. So that does not replace a teacher. I was playing with one the other day. I asked it for a simple course on how to order a chimichanga at a Mexican restaurant in Spanish. No idea. I cannot text. I said, okay, tell me, develop a simple lesson for a fourth grader to order a chimichanga in Spanish. Still have no idea what it said. I finally had to really do it. I said, develop a simple Spanish lesson, how to order a chimichanga in a Mexican restaurant for someone who's never spoke Spanish and has no idea about it. Finally, it got down to a simple lesson that I could do. Okay. So that it's not going to replace our faculty. Because I know we hear from Dr. Owen say quite a bit. There's a difference between lecture. You cannot impart knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing as not being communication if one talks and nobody else does anything. Yes, someone has to talk, and the students receive and bring back that information, transcribe
Mm-hmm.
into what they do. And so that's something even AI is not there yet. We need our faculty to work with that. And AI cannot look at every eventuality
Mm-hmm.
where our students can sit there, improvise, adapt, and overcome, read the class, see how to adapt what you're teaching and how to do it. So, it's not about replacing our faculty with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's to help be a tool they can use to teach.
And so I think that kind of leads into the last part, because I know we could talk forever about this, or at least I could. I'm learning so much from both of you. So the professional development in regard to AI. So like a lot of things in this world, if it's unfamiliar or you're unsure about it, it seems kind of scary, right? AI is coming, going to take our jobs, and it's a big scary thing. But so that with that learning about everything, it makes it not as intimidating, right? So for teacher professional development in regards to AI, how should teachers be prepared and trained to effectively use tools in their classroom? And what ongoing professional development opportunities should be and are available to our educators, to our Forsyth Tech instructors?
One of the best things we got is it's free through Forsyth Tech. It's the LinkedIn Learning. You can go on there and ask it for AI courses, and all of them are free, and you
Mhm.
get actually learning paths through AI with how to use it, and it has different suggestions of how to do it. So always go into LinkedIn Learning. It's
Mhm.
free for Forsyth Tech. You can do it at your own pace. Uh, that's one of the best things right there. Brandon?
Yeah, I agree with Brian completely. LinkedIn Learning is a phenomenal resource. It's free to access for everyone. But in addition to that, we have recently launched our new AI Hub, which is on TechLink. It's accessible to any faculty, employee, staff, the student, anyone with a Forsyth Tech account can get on it. And we built this as um, a hub to kind of house our policies and procedures, feedback mechanisms, training material, and professional development opportunities, transparency in projects and initiatives that we're undergoing. We basically wanted to say, if you've got a question about AI, this is the place to go to get solutions, And so within there, one big part of it is the professional development. So we've included links to a lot of really good and vetted LinkedIn Learning courses in regard to AI. We've got links for certification courses and material through Microsoft and Google. A lot of informational videos and prompt engineering guides and things on there. And just like our procedure, it's fluid. We're constantly adding new things, discovering new things, and kind of updating that content. And we're also working closely with Lucius and his team to work on establishing some ongoing like Tech Tuesdays sessions
Yes.
and webinars and
Mhm.
symposiums. We've got so much in store and so many things to look forward to in 2025. I'm really
Oh,
excited.
yes, this is so exciting. I think it was perfect timing for us to record this episode at the start of the new year. And so I'm really looking forward to all of the things that you all have been working so hard on. So to kind of wrap this up for us all, what is one key takeaway that Brian and Brandon, you both would want instructors um, to learn or take away from this episode of EdTech Talk?
The biggest thing I want everybody to think about, it is a tool.
Hmm.
Okay. It's the same as your grade book, same as your textbook. Use it. Use it
Hmm.
with your own personality, because that's what we love. We love,
Hmm.
like to say, the degrees you got, we love, but you wouldn't be teaching if you didn't have the ability to connect with the students. That's
Hmm.
bigger. And use it as
Hmm.
a tool. Brandon?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm going to have to piggyback back off of that. because absolutely AI can be a very powerful tool in personalizing learning and streamlining teaching tasks. But it needs to be used thoughtfully and ethically to truly enhance the educational experience. I believe in building a culture of informed empowerment, right?
Informed empowerment. That's great.
Where teachers are still, at the heart of education, and the ultimate goal is to empower them and empower our students through strategic and responsible use of AI tools.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly right, man.
That is wonderful. Well, thank you both for joining us on this episode of EdTech Talk. And tune in next time for more insights, discussions, and inspirations in the world of higher education. Until then, keep on leading and learning. Thank you.